हेलो दोस्तों, दिस इज भारत कुमार एंड यू आर वाचिंग माय चैनल निर्मल इन्फो अपडेट्स।
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left.
There will be no delay in delivery of 36 Rafale jets to India as the timeline finalized for the supply of the fighter jets will be strictly respected, French Ambassador Emmanuel Nene has said. India had signed an intergovernmental agreement with France in September 2016 for the procurement of 36 Rafale fighter jets at a cost of around Rs 58,000 crore. The contractual delivery schedule of the Rafale jets has been perfectly respected till now, and, in fact, a new aircraft was handed over to the Indian Air Force in end April in France, in keeping with the contract, Nene told PTI. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh received the first Rafale jet at an airbase in France on October 8. We are helping the Indian Air Force in arranging for the ferry flight of their first 4 Rafales from France to India as soon as possible. So there's no reason today to speculate that the schedule will not be maintained, the envoy said. France is reeling under swelling cases of coronavirus and has emerged as one of the worst hit in Europe. Over 145,000 people were infected by the virus while the death toll stood at 28,330. There were apprehensions that the delivery of Rafale jets could be delayed due to the pandemic. However, Nene asserted that the original timeline for delivery of the jets will be adhered to. The aircraft is capable of carrying a range of potent weapons. European missile maker MBDA's Meteor Beyond Visual Range Air-to-Air Missile and Scout Cruise Missile will be the mainstay of the weapons package of the Rafale jets. Meteor is the next generation of BVR air-to-air missile, BVR-AAM, designed to revolutionize air-to-air combat. The weapon has been developed by MBDA to combat common threats facing the UK, Germany, Italy, France, Spain and Sweden. Besides the missile systems, the Rafale jets will come with various India-specific modifications, including Israeli helmet-mounted displays, radar warning receivers, low-band jammers, 10-hour flight data recording, infrared search and tracking systems. The IAF has already completed preparations, including readying required infrastructure and training of pilots, to welcome the fighter aircraft. The first squadron of the aircraft will be stationed at Napal Air Force Station, considered one of the most strategically located bases of the IAF. The Indo-Pak border is around 220 kilometers from there. The second squadron of Rafale will be stationed at Hasimar Base in West Bengal. The IAF spent around Rs 400 crore to develop required infrastructure like shelters, hangars and maintenance facilities at the 2 bases. Out of 36 Rafale jets, 30 will be fighter jets and 6 will be trainers. The trainer jets will be twin-seater with almost all the features of the fighter jets. The Congress raised questions about the deal, including on rates of the aircraft and alleged corruption, but the government has rejected the charges. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India has been walking a tightrope between the United States and China even as it nurses its own ambitions for global leadership. Hiromoto Takanori assesses the role of the Japan-India relationship in this dynamic context. India's ruling Bharatiya Janata Party scored another resounding victory in the May 2019 general election, ushering in a second term for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Modi diplomacy. With a nationalistic swagger reminiscent of such leaders as US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, Modi is just the 3rd Indian Prime Minister to leave such an indelible stamp on the country's foreign policy, after Nehru, who championed the policy of non-alignment, and Indira Gandhi, who forged India's partnership with the Soviet Union. Under the diplomatic leadership of Modi and Japanese Prime Minister Abe Shinzo, Japan and India have continued to strengthen ties, cognizant of their growing importance to one another in the context of international power politics. In the following, I attempt to analyze and forecast the trajectory of Japan-India relations under Modi diplomacy. Perhaps the most salient aspect of India's foreign policy during Modi's first term was its explicit reorientation toward a vision of India as a major world power. This reorientation has all but negated the meaning of non-alignment as a pillar of Indian diplomacy. Narendra Modi came to power following the BJP's historic victory in the general election of 2014. In February 2015, in keeping with his party's India First manifesto, Prime Minister Modi called on top Indian diplomats worldwide to help India position itself in a leading role, rather than just a balancing force, globally. The following May, in a speech to the International Institute for Strategic Studies in Singapore, Foreign Secretary Subramaniam Jaishankar took the idea a step further, stating that India's new aspiration was to be a leading power, rather than just a balancing power. 1. By substituting power for role, Jaishankar articulated a new vision of India as a major world power, signaling a decisive shift in the country's foreign policy. Supporting that vision is the hard reality of India's rapidly growing economic and military might. According to the World Bank, India's gross domestic product for 2014, the year Modi took office, was US $2.04 trillion, making it the world's 9th largest economy. In 2018, it ranked 7th, with a GDP of $2.73 trillion. During the same time, its defense spending rose from $46.1 billion to $66.5 billion, propelling it from 8th to 4th in the world, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. Japan ranks 9th. The term leading power implies global leadership. But for now, India's main concern is the Indo-Pacific region, where China and the United States are locked in a battle for hegemony. From India's standpoint, Japan has a critical role to play in terms of protecting and advancing India's interests amid this unfolding drama. The converse is also true. After taking office in 2017, U.S. President Donald Trump removed the pillars of the Obama administration's East Asia policy, the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the strategic rebalance to Asia and the Pacific, without bothering to replace them. In November 2017, when Trump toured Asia for the first time, his administration still had no coherent Asia-Pacific strategy. This explains why it was so quick to embrace Obama's free and open Indo-Pacific (FOIP) concept. The December 2017 National Security Strategy, issued by the White House, identifies China and Russia as key threats to America's interests and criticizes China for attempting to displace the United States in the Indo-Pacific region, expands the reaches of its state-driven economic model, and reorder the region in its favor. It further states, "We welcome India's emergence as a leading global power and stronger strategic and defense partner. We will seek increased quadrilateral cooperation with Japan, Australia, and India." The last sentence is a reference to the informal Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, or Quad, originally initiated by Obama in 2007. It was in fact revived in 2017 and upgraded to a ministerial-level forum in September 2019. When Trump visited India in February 2020, the Modi government pulled out all the stops, staging a massive rally to welcome the president. Trump gushed over a deal to sell U.S. military helicopters to India at a price of about $3 billion, a step toward reducing India's massive trade surplus with the United States, and spoke of further revitalizing the Quad initiative. Despite these signs of strategic cooperation with the United States, New Delhi's attitude toward China is far more ambivalent and nuanced than Washington's. To be sure, long-standing border disputes remain a major source of bilateral tension. In addition, New Delhi looks askance at the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, part of Beijing's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, claiming that the infrastructure projects are part of a strategy to encircle India. That said, the Indian government is intent on staying engaged with China, particularly on an economic level, and it would love to put the relationship on a more stable footing. Aware of Beijing's hostility toward any regional framework that threatens to exclude or contain China, Modi has deliberately rephrased Obama's FOIP concepts as a free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific FAIRP. This is typical of New Delhi's China strategy of engaging while hedging. The Nepal Army has deployed a Section Plus unit near Gantibugger of Darkula district for the construction of 87-kilometer section of the road under the Markala Corridor, or the Darkula-Tinka Road project. The government had last month decided to entrust the Nepal Army with the construction project. The ministers, during a meeting on April 26, had decided to deploy a Section Plus force of the Nepal Army with the required equipment to build the 87-kilometer section of the road. A mule track which falls under the road section will have a width of 2 meters and 450 meters length, the Nepal Army said in the statement on Thursday. The government of Nepal in 2008 had sanctioned various contractors to build on road which would run parallel with the India border on Darkula side, separated by the Markala River. An estimated 50 kilometers of the road construction runs in parallel with the Indian border side leading to Tinkard Pass in far west Nepal for trade with China. Currently, the locals of Darkula district have to get across India to reach the other high-lying sides of the mountainous district of Darkula in Nepal's far west. Once the army will open the 450-meter road section in between the Mariba and Genti area, around 1,200 residents of 182 households there do not have to travel via the Indian route to come to their own village within Nepal's territory, the statement read further. Last week, Nepal released an updated political map including Kalapani, Lipulik, and Limpiyadhar within its own territory. India marked the tri-junction point within its political map last released in November 2019.